Video number 6, Rankings and Index. Which organization published the Multidimensional Vulnerability Index? United Nations. Which organization published the Multidimensional Vulnerability Index? United Nations. The Multidimensional Vulnerability Index (MVI) was developed and published by the United Nations, specifically through the UN Sustainable Development Group (UNOHRLLS). The MBI Multidimensional Vulnerability Index helps to measure the structural vulnerability of developing countries, particularly small island developing states, to external economic and environmental shocks. Unlike simple GDP metrics, the MBI accounts for factors like climate change exposure and remoteness, arguing for easier access to concessional financing for these vulnerable nations. National Infrastructure Readiness Index was launched in September 2024. National Infrastructure Readiness Index was launched in September 2024. The National Infrastructure Readiness Index (NIRI) or a similarly named Infrastructure Tracking Index in the exam context was launched in September 2024. This index is designed to assess the preparedness of states and sectors in implementing large-scale infrastructure projects likely aligned with the PM Gati Shakti Master Plan. It evaluates parameters like land availability, regulatory clearance, speed, and logistical connectivity to rank states on their edge of doing infrastructure business. Next. Technology and Innovation Report is published by which of the following? UNCTAD, UNCTAD. Technology and Innovation Report is published by which of the following? UNCTAD. The Technology and Innovation Report is a flagship publication of the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. UNCTAD क्या होता है? United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. The report analyzes the impact of frontier technologies like AI, green hydrogen, and uh, IoT on developing countries. It highlights the growing technological gap between the global north and south and advocates for policies that ensure equitable access to innovation so that developing nations can leapfrog in their development journey without being left behind. Next. As of December 2024, 42 million women in India were monitoring their credit, signaling growing financial awareness. As of December 2024, 42 million women in India were monitoring their credit, signaling growing financial awareness. According to a TransUnion Civil Report or similar credit bureau study released around that time, 42 million women in India were actively monitoring their credit history score as of December 2024. This signifies a massive shift in financial literacy and independence among Indian women. It indicates that more women are becoming conscious borrowers, actively managing their credit profiles to access loans for housing, education, or business, thereby narrowing the gender gap in financial inclusion. Next. In January 2025, who published the report titled Takers Not Makers, The Unjust Poverty and Unearned Wealth of Colonial Inheritance, Oxfam. क्या बोल रहा है? In January 2025, who published the report titled Takers Not Makers, The Unjust Poverty and Unearned Wealth of Colonial Inheritance, Oxfam. The report titled Takers Not Makers, The Unjust Poverty and Unearned Wealth of Colonial Inheritance, or simply The Inequality Inc. report focusing on wealth gaps, was published by Oxfam, specifically usually timed with the Davos World Economic Forum in January. Oxfam reports critically analyze global wealth inequality, highlighting how the super rich often heirs to colonial or dynastic wealth accumulate vast fortunes while billions remain in poverty. The title emphasizes the structural legacy of colonialism in modern economic disparities. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe.